Hello everybody, Sam from RoadTrailRun. You'll have to pardon the birds singing, but today we're going to take a look at the Saucony Ride 15, which is a daily trainer. What is a daily trainer? Well, it's a shoe you can use for most of your runs, from the kind of faster ones to kind of your everyday miles. The Ride model, or style as they say, has been one of my favorites over the last couple years. The yellow Ride 13 was actually my daily trainer of the year for 2020, and the 14, with very few changes, wasn't that bad either. However, it had become a bit dated when you think of the Puma Nitros of the world and the Nike Invincible Runs, the Super Foams. So what did Saucony do? Well, they didn't do away with the essence of the model, that is for sure. What they've done here with the 15 is dramatically drop the weight. So now in a US 9, we'll come in at about 8.7 ounces or 247 grams. So that's a huge 1.3 ounce, 37 gram drop in weight. And they've added 3 millimeters more power run that's now softer, and I can clearly say bouncier than what they had before in the 13 and the 14. So how did they get the weight down? Well, one thing you can see right away is they modified the outsole. So what they did with the outsole is, yes, you can see they slimmed down the coverage, and rubber's the heaviest component in a shoe. Yeah, we have a few concerns about wear now. There's more exposed foam, but I think the drop in weight makes it well worth it. You can also see it's now more kind of decoupled with the stability through the center, whereas here we had these big chevrons. And the chevrons, I gotta say, were what these firm rubber chevrons with a flexible shoe. And here, I'm gonna show you the flex. A little bit less flexible, a little stiffer, as we no longer have continuous flex grooves across the shoe. What the chevrons did before was to really give the shoe a lot of pop as you picked up the pace. And that's why it was kind of, for me, a shoe I could do just about everything in, including faster stuff. Now what we have is a little bit more cushion, 3 millimeters more cushion, and a less aggressive outsole. So what you've got is a softer, a bit more mellow ride. And on the run, the cushioning, the extra cushioning, and the less aggressive outsole in terms of the ride is clearly noted. We've also got to highlight that the midsole geometry has changed. You can see how the sidewalls were more vertical. There was less of a heel rocker, and it also looks to me like less of a maybe a shorter toe rocker. Now here, and this one was a bit longer. So this translates into a very smooth flow that plays well with the increased stack height we have here. Yes, it is still, I would say, a daily trainer for sure, but now it leans a little more towards, if you will, the slower side of things, or maybe the more cushioned side of things. And Saucony has plenty of other models in their lineup to help us along with, say, faster runs. You've got the Convara 13, which is just a superb update. Same kind of very softer power run than before, flexible. That's kind of your speedy, kind of flexible classic shoe. And then of course you got the Endorphin Speed with its power run PBA midsole and its plastic plate for your kind of faster, longer runs. And then above them, if you will, you've got, of course, the Endorphin Shift with yet more stack, a rigid rocker profile, and the speed roll. We don't have a speed roll here. We have a more conventional 8 millimeter geometry. In terms of our stack height here, we've added 3 millimeters. So we're coming in now at 35/27 8 millimeter drop. So that's really way up there for barely 8.7 ounces, 247 grams. And the price is right as well, $140, up $10, but this is a lot of shoe for the money. Let's talk a bit about upper and fit. I'm going to show you a picture of the 14 on one foot and our 15 on the other. and then we'll talk about how they actually fit. In addition to the rubber being a weight factor, look how plush everything was before. Very plush, thick tongue, lots of padding. Now we have a more slimmed down, still very comfortable fit. The mesh here, it was kind of softer and thicker. Over here we have a very, very thin engineered mesh. And you're gonna say, well, wait a minute, what about the foothold? Well, we have a really nice gusset tongue inside. You won't be able to see it. Oh, yes, you can. There it is. Gusset tongue that holds the foot really well down. Much more kind of performance-oriented fit compared to the 14 here. We also have a neat webbing strap which ties in all the way down to the midsole on both sides. Some may cry a bit that the big fat tubular kind of fun laces with a bit of stretch of the 14 are gone. But now we have flat laces that just pull everything together really well, really secure the foot. The tongue is lightly padded. Everything works really well here. And of course it did in the 14, but it was kind of a plush, kind of a bit overdone kind of plushness for the daily training purpose, at least for me. In terms of the heel counter, very similar in height. However, not as softly and plushly padded over here in the 15. The actual counter, maybe a touch softer, not quite as rigid here as in the 14, but very, very close. So this is a really well locked down upper despite having the thin mesh. You also see we have a bit of a toe bumper and these overlays to kind of help you get locked down. Plenty of cushioning, plenty of, but it's not quite the plush stuff you had here with the 14. So let's do a few comparisons, and let's start with the $120 Puma Velocity Nitro 2. So it weighs a little bit more, about 0.3 of an ounce more. It has a bit lower stack height, even though it has supercritical nitro foam as part of it with a lower EVA layer. Its upper is not quite the smooth fitting or as secure as our Saucony. However, where it really is differentiates itself is with its Puma Grip outsole, which really, if you get on any kind of dirt, is really a superior outsole. In terms of ride, it's a little more aggressive, a little firmer, a little snappier, maybe a little faster feeling. Oh my, what a close comparison. The Skechers GORun Ride 9 is actually half an ounce lighter at 8.2 ounces, 233 grams, and has almost the same stack height, but it has Skechers supercritical hyperburst foam, which obviously gets it to its lighter weight, and it is a very lively, springy foam indeed. The upper is really quite comparable. Where the Skechers starts to fall a little behind the Ride 15 for me is in the ride. The geometry of the Skechers really is not quite up to what the Saucony's does in terms of rolling me forward smoothly as the Saucony does. Another really interesting comparison, the ASICS Cumulus 24, exactly the same stack height of 35mm heel, 27mm forefoot, 8mm drop, but we weigh 0.8 of an ounce more here with the ASICS. It has a Flight Foam Blast top layer and Flight Foam Propel layer below, a somewhat more substantial outsole. I find it runs kind of flat and overly soft, and I think it's the outsole rubber as part of the what's going on, as well as the gel at the heel. It just isn't as smooth running. The weight may also come from its very nice upper, which while not quite as supportive as the Saucony, is still mighty fine. Its price is $130, so it's $10 less. Another classic daily trainer that competes with our Ride 15, the New Balance 880 V12, which gets a much wider base than before, and comes in as the heaviest of our comparisons at 10.4 ounces, 294 grams, with a stack height that's actually a little bit less than the Saucony. It's just not as streamlined a ride, although it is quite snappy and energetic. For me, it was held back by its upper, which just doesn't have the support. There's no gusset tongue. It's a soft, very kind of comfort-oriented upper, which moves the shoe, I think, leans it quite a bit further sort of to recovery runs and easy runs than the Ride 15 is. We're not even halfway through the year, but I'm really liking this Ride 15. Will it be my daily trainer of the year as the 13 was? Well, there's still time to go, but it's definitely in the hunt. It has a smoother now, kind of more mellow ride, but it's still daily trainer class. It loses a lot of weight. 1.3 ounces, 37 grams, to come to under 9 ounces, 8.7 ounces, 247 grams. It gets 3 millimeters more stack of softer PWRRUN to come in at 35.27, so we're in max cushion territory. It does go up in price to $140, but I still think it's a great value and one of the top shoes of 2022 for me so far.